Welcome back to school and welcome to the School PR Podcast. Matthew, how are you doing, my man?
Doing good. Start of a new school year. I'm stoked.
Let's do this thing.
Ready or not, here they come. Be sure to visit schoolstatus.com, peachjar.com, nickelstrategies.com, and smore.com. Advocating for public education, sharing our stories and celebrating our schools, students, and staff. From crisis communications to media relations, social media, and everything in between, we're here to give you the best strategies, tools, and techniques to help you help your community. Welcome to the School PR Podcast, brought to you by Peach Jar, School Status, Nickel Strategies, and S'more. Love 'em or leave 'em. Here's your hosts, Matthew Jennings and Ryan Ferran.
And we're back to school. Summer is fading into the distance and fall is upon us. Matthew, are you rested and recharged?
Yeah, definitely rested and recharged. Yeah, ready to go, ready for a new school year. Stoked. It's always fun and exciting. And I know my kids are, I don't know if I'd say they're excited to be back, but they're happy to see their friends again in school. And yeah, kicking it off a new year.
What do your kids' schools do first day? Welcome back. Do they do anything interesting, or is it back to school as normal, or what do they do to get the kids back going where you're at in OC, Orange County, California?
Yeah, from what I could tell, it was just kind of getting kids in class, being really welcoming, get all the banners out, all the signs, make it look like a fun, inviting space. Then when the kids get into class, it's a lot of expectation setting, a different thing, appropriate for grade levels, making sure that classroom management is all set and in place. And then my kiddo's school does something on Wednesday, that first week of school, that just is kind of like a carnival kind of a thing that they got a bunch of tents out and things for the kids to do. Just get out, make friends, meet new people, meet new families, get everybody involved. So yeah, it's about building community. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to do that right away too. Then kids are comfortable, parents are comfortable, teachers and staff are comfortable. That's a good idea. Yeah, I love seeing all the signs at the school, the banners, the music on the first day, the step and repeats, the backdrops, and just making it really fun that first day. And we've talked about this a lot over the past. We kind of started a campaign years ago where everyone's out there taking the photos. So how do you capitalize on that? So we did a hashtag Arcadia First Day, but we send everyone, parents, students, how do you send us your photos? We'll include them in our album. We'll feature your kids, and a lot more schools are doing that. So that's a fun way to capitalize on all that stuff that's happening anyway. Just let parents know, like, here's how to do it, send out the process, and it's pretty simple. Then year after year it catches on and just kind of blows up, and you have so many good photos to kick off the year in good spirits.
So true. Yeah. Otherwise that content just sits on somebody's device and never sees the light of day. So yeah, it's a really good way to highlight that, which is cool.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of another way to curate content where you don't have to create it yourself, but like, it's out there. How do we just gather this, or how do we reuse it? And you're right, it's all on parents' phone. We go out to the schools, of course, too, and we'll take a bunch of pictures. And one thing we started doing too the past few years is, we have our cameras, we're taking our pictures, but we need to tell the parents, because sometimes they're just getting their kids like, hey, hop in there, I'll take a photo of you, and take one with my camera, take one with yours. And they're so appreciative, like, oh, really? You're like, yeah, go ahead. It takes me 3 seconds. And next thing you know, we got a line of 50 parents and their kids, because they're trying to get out in front of the sign in front of the school to mark the historic occasion. But then you're like, yeah, we'll take 3 seconds. We'll get you, mom and dad in the photo. And they just love that. They're so appreciative. So I'd almost kind of offer that as a service for others that aren't doing that.
Absolutely. And if you are going to host them somewhere and you see parents out there and you've got like the nice camera and they got their cell phone camera, let them know where they can go find those photos later too, so they can get higher quality photos if they want. You all have taken, where you're going to upload those and store those. And I do that at board meetings too. Like, just carry that forward too. If you've got a kiddo winning an award, I've noticed a lot of times over the years, parents are just kind of nervous. the kiddos up there, they're shaking hands with the board member, the board president or whatever, the superintendent. They come out in front of the dais and they're taking a photo, and you're out there with your good camera. I always tell parents, come on up here with me. I'll get out of your way. And I bring them up, move out of their way, let them take a shot too, which is really cool. Parents appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a good idea. And the reminder too, when you're at these award things or events, like get on the microphone, tell the parents, hey, we have some of these scholarship awards at the end of the year. And, it's probably like this one particular group I'm thinking of, there's probably 20 kids. We have a luncheon with their parents. And at the end, we do a group shot with the kids and the parents, it's like the cameras are out and they're flying. You're like, look, we'll take the photos. Here's where to find them. But it's funny because some of the parents, they use their phones so much, but if they would just take 3 seconds to like clean the lens, like, like get at a right angle,
hold it still, compose the shot, anything.
Right. So they definitely appreciate it because as many followers as you have, there's a lot of people that don't know that you have a Facebook page or an Instagram. So they're not going to see those photos, but it's a great point you brought up is remind them these are going to be posted on our district Facebook page. And then they see them like, oh my goodness, they're just so impressed and so appreciative. Instead of their, blurry thumb printed, washed out photo on their Android 3 or whatever it is. So it's
so true. It's so true. And I've had hesitation with boards in the past or whatever that are like, they don't want to take the extra 2 or 3 minutes necessarily to let parents come up and take photos or whatever, because it takes longer. But at the end of the day, that's all any of us are here for. The parents and the kids, period. And if we can't take 100%. Another couple of minutes to let the parents come up, take a couple of shots of their kiddo, make them feel like they're part of the process, then I don't know. I'm going to push back on that a little bit, So always include parents and guardians where you can, makes them feel the love.
Yeah, for sure. And same thing kind of with the first day of school is with when we're honoring somebody at a board meeting, it's like, take this kid's picture with the board member, superintendent, but then it's like next one, all right, parents get in there. They're like, what? You're like, yeah, go up there. And then they're a little hesitant at first sometimes, but then they're so appreciative they have that moment captured. They get to be in it with their kids. And it's just like you said, 20 seconds, an extra minute or two, just to make those moments way better and memorable for the families that, they were excited to be there in the first place and they're getting a little extra. So that's kind of the customer service you want to provide.
Yep. Community engagement is a big one. And most of us have those as a board priority and a district goal. So it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah. And you're right. Like that's the reason your board should be there is to, for community engagement, honoring the community, not to get back to hearing ourselves talk for 4 hours about something that nobody cares about. So it's
so true.
But it's a great way to break up the meeting, make it more engaging, and not have it be, the most painful 5 hours of everyone's month or 2 weeks.
You said it, brother. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it's always, right. When groups are there to be honored, they won something and it's a celebration, and those meetings are always so much better because there's such good energy in there. So then it's like, why don't we do this more often? And how do you almost find an excuse to start honoring and celebrating students and staff? So yeah, it's great.
So true. And speaking of energy, what do you got going into this next year? Anything you're looking forward to or excited about or working on?
We passed a major bond last year to the tune of $358 million.
Wow. That's big.
So a lot of bond work with projects, communicating about that, priorities. We're doing a vision as well, big community survey, parent survey, staff survey for the next 15 years. Like, what do we want for our kids? If your kid's starting TK, K now, like, we know things are going to be different, not exactly different, but what we want your input and what do you think we should be focusing on? So we're doing that as well. I'll tell you an interesting side note about our bond. A lot of people went for them last year, but we were originally told not to go for it. You're not going to pass it.
I remember you telling me about that. We talked about it.
Yeah. Pre-polling was low. You're way below the threshold. Wait 2 years and go for it. And so glad we didn't do that. We ignored that advice, which was not good advice. And we went out and passed $358 million bond when most times school districts, and we talked to a few locally that said we got the same advice and they didn't go out. They saw us pass pre-polling at the same numbers and not thrilled. So surveying and all that is good, and some of those pre-pollings can help, but be wary of some of that feedback and data because we actually pass kind of easily.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
think about that
Yeah.
$358 million difference. And in 2 years, it may be way less of a climate to pass a bond measure in and really wouldn't pass. So, um, side note, but that was kind of an eye opener even to me, just going, you're only polling so many people, but you understand your community a lot more than some consultants in another city do. And so if you ever want to talk about that, you're pre-polling. I love the data and the campaigns and parcel taxes, bond measures, and all that. So
Yeah, we talked about pre-polling a little bit in previous episodes and even bond stuff, but let's unpack that one more layer. So you've got a lot of bond work going on, and there are, I guess preface this with Ryan and I are not attorneys, right? So consult with your attorneys on
we play one on
bond
a
work.
podcast, though.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's a lot of nuance there with what we can and can not do as school district employees on district time as paid staff. But with that being said, talk to me about some of the plans. 'Cause I know you have a passion for bond work, and I know that's something you really enjoy. So talk to me a little bit about what the plan is to talk about the projects the bond dollars are going towards and for. Like, how are you being transparent about that work?
Yeah, we always do an oversight committee, which most people do. You don't have to in all cases, but we always have done them historically, which is great. So you have a group of people, you kind of keep them abreast of everything. They kind of, as the title suggests, they're the oversight committee. So they approve a lot of things, and we do, a lot of direct work with them, but also a lot of broader community messaging and keeping them updated, because when you want to pass another bond down the road, you need to let them know what their current bond dollars are doing. Is it being worked on the stuff you said it was going to be worked on? So you're building more of that trust. You told them you're going to be transparent, so now you got to pay that piper, which is a good thing. But it's a lot of messaging and keeping people up to date on, like, here's what we're doing, here are the timelines for these projects, here's why this one's delayed, here's why we're prioritizing this one this year and we're pushing this one back 3 years. So it's a lot of that, and really keeping people in the loop and doing some of those kind of community outreaches with that, and then celebration. And our maintenance and operations team does a great job of, they have weekly construction updates on their website. So if you really want to dive in, you can see pictures, you can see projects, you can see pavement being poured, you can see all that stuff. So which is a great way to keep the community updated. And every week there's a new update, and this will happen for years till we complete all these projects.
That's great. Yeah, really good. Solid gold right there. That was cool.
And another thing, and I know we've talked about this in the past, Matthew, but some people, especially starting out in school PR, they're communication specialist, etc. They don't get too deep into the bond work, parcel tax. Maybe their boss is doing it. They're not. But I'm telling you right now, if you want to be more valuable, move up the ladder faster, start understanding bond measures and parcel taxes and start making a difference, because when superintendents are hiring, those are the things they're looking for. Social media campaigns and graphic design and some of these things are great, but when you can move the needle with a $200 million bond measure, a parcel tax saving 20 teachers' jobs, 30 teachers' jobs, now you have my attention, and now I want you in my building. Now I want you working for me. So if you're not on the inside of those, I would join those committees. I would ask to be a part of the process. What can I learn? Can I help you? I would love to sit on those. I love sitting in on the pre-polling with the advisors and the data folks. Sit in all those that you can, volunteer to do that, and just learn, be a sponge, because you will apply some techniques that you learn and know to help with this. So that is a true value to your district. So I would learn and soak up everything you can. And we have previous podcasts where we dive deeper in bond measures and partial taxes, but I would learn that if you want to fast track your career.
Solid advice. Absolutely. It's another spoke in the wheel, another bullet point on the resume.
What do you think the other big one is, Matthew, as far as you're a little bit newer in the field? What should you kind of really try to be an expert on to get your value up, to get that next job?
Right now, current trends, and it really depends on what your role is, right? Like if you're a comm specialist and you're in charge of social media, like then you need to have that inside and out. Obviously, many facets of the work that we're invested in right now across multiple departments. I think any department I can name is going to be heavily influenced by AI. So being able to leverage the tools that are available to you in your niche, if you're creating content or videos using AI in really unique and innovative ways, if you're creating social media posts, if you're using, creating website copy, if you're writing speeches, whatever that is, being able to leverage the tools that are at your disposal, I think is the biggest one. You've got to, whatever your job description is, become a master at that. And as you master that and make yourself invaluable in the role you were hired for, then you can start looking for what else can I do? Like, hey, if bond work and that stuff's not on my plate, like how can I get involved in that? If there's some aspect like crisis communications or emergency communications that's not in your docket, like maybe you start asking like, hey, how can I be involved in this process? How can I get some media training? How can I do some of these bigger things? And so master your job description in your own niche, leverage the tools that you have available to you. Once you get fairly confident in that space and you're recognized for that and you're invaluable, figure out what you need to be looking at next level. Look at your boss's description, start chipping away there.
Yep. Dress for the job you want, not the job you have. So after you mastered your task, what's the next job you want? Start mastering those tasks. Start getting very familiar with that.
That's
I remember
awesome.
somebody once saying, whatever keeps your superintendent up at night, solve those problems, you'll have a job for life. And that's what, I mean, crisis, what you said keeps your superintendent up at night. Can you help us, navigate a crisis? Can you help us bring in a lot of money, save facilities, save jobs? Those are the things that really move the needle. And you're right, AI is big. There's a lot of districts, county office of education diving deep into that. And they're doing some really good work. That's kind of the next evolution of education, and they're on the forefront. So that's very valuable tool that not everyone has right now. And that's, they're kind of shining bright in that field.
So very, very true, my brother.
All right. Anything else before we send everyone back to school?
This is a fun one, man. This is short, sweet, covered a little bit of a broad spectrum here. But yeah, I mean, I think this year, tune into your communications plan, tune into your strategies that you've mapped out as a team. Focus on that. Focus on helping parents, guardians, students, and staff have the most successful 2025, 2026 as humanly possible. And if you're in communications, don't forget that you play an insanely critical role in building community, brand awareness, retention of staff, students, families, all of it. You are a big part of the glue that keeps everything together. So good luck. It's going to be a great year. I know it. We got this. It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. You're right, though. What I like what you said there too is you can be the district morale booster. If things are tough and people are a little bit down, your budget's getting slashed, and everyone's there's layoffs, you can be the district cheerleader. Post some positive, send some newsletters out. Maybe staff only community parents. Start spreading some positive news to kind of maybe give some people a boost, highlight them, because we are hitting some tough, difficult times. It's a very tough job. We'll all have crises come up. Budgets are not looking good in our state, at least. But you can really kind of play a role in boosting morale. We host a staff appreciation event that everyone loves. They bring their kids to. So, you can do that. You can make a serious impact, as Matthew said. So that is awesome. Hey, do you know what episode we still haven't released yet, Matthew?
Ooh, which one?
Which one that we did? The heated debate one?
Not APR.
Yeah, Masters versus APR. We still have yet to release that one. The managing partners haven't approved that one yet. It's so controversial.
Tuned for more.
There's some strong opinions in that one, mostly by me.
That was a blast. I loved that. That was great.
That was a good one. Emily's amazing. By the way, there's a lot of talk on the, at least in California, about the accessibility and all that. And I shared our podcast on a listserv a few weeks ago. But Emily Popek is amazing over at Nickel Strategies. If you have accessibility, you're doing website stuff, any questions, I would reach out to Emily. She is fantastic and really knows that stuff. So, yeah. All right, Matthew, great seeing you as always. Wishing you and your kiddos and everyone a great start to the 2025 school year. How about that? Crazy.
Be sure to follow the School PR Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and X, where you can find additional resources and highlights from the show. Please like, subscribe, and all the fun stuff. And most importantly, without our sponsors, this podcast doesn't exist. Please visit schoolstatus.com, peachjar.com, nickelstrategies.com, and smore.com. Until next time, keep learning, inspiring, and making a difference. Thanks so much for your support of the School PR Podcast.